A lot of us have come across videos and we've come across situations whereby you are told you're being possessed or you're being attacked by ancestral covenants. You have to ask yourself, what are ancestral covenants? Understanding ancestral covenant comes from first understanding ancestry, and at the same time, what is a covenant? Ancestral covenants are covenants that were entered by one or two or more of your ancestors. Let me put it this way. Ancestral covenants are covenants that are entered by one of your ancestors. These covenants could be made as a result of land disputes, could be made as a result of marriage, could be made as a result of tribulations, or they could be made as a result of love or relationship or business. I'll give an example. You have an ancestor that wants to marry a third wife, and then the family he wants to marry from are spiritual family, and then your father or one of your ancestors decide to enter an agreement behind the back of the girl than to say, and this my daughter I want to give you. I will only give you this my daughter if you make a promise to me that all of the children my daughter will give to you will become sole inheritance to your property. Out of desperation, because I must marry this girl, your ancestor may agree, and then out of the love your ancestor must have had for that particular girl, they will give birth to children, and your ancestor will now transfer the inheritance he has to the children of this daughter. Give a decree in the family, and that was how it stood. This has spurred off what? This has spurred off what? Anger, disregard for the children of the first wife and the second wife. What will happen? The man will die. The law has been given. Community has said it. The deities have signed it. But something happened. He died. Children died. 10 years later, 20 years later, 150 years later, we must have forgotten. None of you will remember those things. And then now, you are born. You are a descendant of the first wife or the second wife of that what? Particular ancestor. You are born by that particular ancestor. That particular ancestor, when gets that covenant, you are now a descendant of the first wife or the second one who did not receive inheritance, backed up by the deity of the family, because oftentimes deities are the one that will seal such covenants. Now guess what? In the family, a particular set of people, they don't have money, but the other faction of the family, they all have money. When we talk about inheritance, we're not just talking about the lands that the man owns. We're talking about the wealth that comes to the family is already being transferred to the third wife children. And so you see one lineage, one part of the family, they don't have money. Another part, they are suffering. But one, they are making money. How do you remove yourself from such covenants? These are some of the covenants that has kept a lot of us in bondage. These are some of the covenants that have given us wealth we cannot explain. Some people, you go to church, you do other things, and you are getting all the best things you can think of, and you think it's Jesus that is blessing you. It could just be an ancestral covenant that you are still benefiting from. And so, one of the advice I give a lot of people is this: have you found out what covenant that is binding your family to the deity? Have you found out what covenant that you are operating under? Because every family have a covenant that binds them. That has a covenant that controls their life, their money, their progress. So which covenant is binding you? So when we talk about ancestral covenant, these are covenants that your ancestors has entered that today are playing a vital role or have become the yardstick for how your life should be measured. They've become the rule for your life, a major role in how your life will play out. So I will advise you, each and every one of you, that seek out consultations, summon your ancestors, understand what they did, let them tell you what to do. Because you cannot fight a force except you understand how the force works. And sometimes you may just make peace with that force without going to war. Thank you.